What is up, everybody? Happy Monday and welcome in to the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Playbook show, live show, whatever you want to call this show. It is time to go. I'm your host, James Grande. I am joined today with Keith Eister. Keith, what is going on, brother? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We are at the grindy part of the baseball season. NFL preseason has kicked off. But baseball is my favorite sport. I love all sports, but baseball is the top of the list if I had to put one up there. But it can get to be a long season, especially at this time when the NFL is coming into the picture. A couple months, we'll have the NBA. So the grindy part of the MLB season, but ready to get in and break down the slate for sure.
You brought up the NFL preseason. So I saw in a hilarious tweet today from Cantaloupe_FF. He said, over 69 hours of football was played this weekend. Your dumbass league mates missed all the important stuff. Here's everything you need to know from preseason week 1. It's preseason. I beg you to spend what little time you have left with your family before the regular season starts, and you neglect them for the next 5 months. That's how I feel about NFL preseason to a T, for the record. So
I was going to say I'd put the over/under on the hours of football that you watched over the weekend at like 1.5.
Under.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy. The easiest under you'd ever bet. That'd be the easiest under anyone has ever bet. Anyways, we're not here to talk football. We are here to talk the 10-game main slate over on the DraftKings. On DraftKings. Not the DraftKings. On DraftKings. We have a good blend of pitching. We have Sacramento in play tonight. We have a few spots that we need to pay attention to with weather in Chicago for the White Sox and in Kansas City, both obviously in the Midwest. So both are, potentially going to deal with some rain. And it's also 90 degrees in Sacramento with winds blowing out, and that park is already small enough. So there's a lot to like about the slate. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe. We do this every day, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. If there's a slate present, we do this pre-show every day, Monday through Friday. You guys can catch us in the evening or the morning when you're having your coffee, whatever. And we break this thing down position by position, starting at pitcher. Keith, you ready to rock?
Let's do it.
Let's break down the top half of this slate because of the pitching options, because I think there are very intriguing options. One of them is priced much more significantly than the others. Garrett Crochet is 11.5. Nathan Eovaldi is 10.2. Yoshinobu Yamamoto 9.9. Logan Webb 97. How would you break down this top tier? Because it's something that I've talked about recently, and we saw it, and it's apples to apples with every situation. But you need a big crooked score if you are paying 11.5 for a pitcher. What say you about this top tier of fine gentlemen here?
It's a loaded top tier. I don't think that you can go wrong with any of the four, but I do think there's a pretty clear, distinct order for me. Crochet, if we were just talking talent in a vacuum, is probably the best pitcher on this list.
Yes.
He has the highest upside for sure. When we get into matchups, this Houston team, they're all right-handed, and Crochet actually strikes out more righties than he does lefties. So that's not necessarily a knock on him. But Houston is the best offense among the four, I think, with Arizona having traded away 2 big bats, 3 if you count Grichuk. Eovaldi has not given up more than 1 run. He's only in like one of his last 14 starts has he given up more than 1 run. He has been lights out. He doesn't have the strikeout upside of Crochet. Arizona's still a formidable offense, even though they've traded away a couple people. Obviously, Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte still there. Still some big bats in that Arizona lineup. Yamamoto is the guy that stands out to me, just for the strikeout upside. We've attacked Angels strikeouts all season long. Yamamoto is in the conversation for the NL Cy Young. He's been absolutely incredible today. He's far cheaper than Crochet, and he has the strikeout upside in the matchup. So if I'm ranking them, Yamamoto is my favorite of the tier.
Yeah, he was actually, I'll toot my own horn here. He was my preseason Fantasy Alarm bold prediction at El Cy Young. So thank you. Toot that horn a little louder for the people in the back, Keith.
You need Skeens to run out of gas a little bit, and you might have.
Yeah, that's the issue there. That's going to obviously be the obstacle. Paul Skeens just needs to shut down. Shut him down. Shut him down now, please.
They're not
Please.
playing for anything, so why
No,
not?
no, they're not, but they're playing for him to win the award. So I'm sure he'll
Yeah,
get.
fair.
Let's move down the list a little bit. Cade Cavalli made his debut, or at least his first start since 2022. Looks super impressive. He gets KC in a spot who doesn't strike out a lot. Christian Javier is coming off Tommy John, making his first start of the year. Ryan Pepio in Sacramento. Is there? Let me ask it like this, and this might just be a quick answer, and we can move on. Is there any reason to play any of those three pitchers when we have the guys above and below?
I think Cavalli is super interesting just for the strikeout upside. He has walk issues, and he did throw 86 pitches, 88 pitches, maybe
88.
in
Yep.
88. That was nice to see. So maybe the leash isn't as scary as I'm thinking that it is. But a guy who is potentially limited, hasn't been on a mound in a very long time, and then the low strikeout matchup against Kansas City. So I don't think we need him on this slate. I think you can skip this tier.
There was a ton of impressive stuff from him. The fastball touched 100. He had 19 whiffs in his debut, which was, I mean, that for any start, any length of a start, if that was a 9-inning complete game, you'd be like, holy cow, 19 whiffs? That's crazy. He didn't finish 5 innings and he had 19 whiffs. So, that is something to monitor, but I agree. Kansas City there's not a lot of strikeout in that offense. So, and we're going to move to that next tier. I think this is the money-making tier. This is a loaded tier of guys that on any given day has 25 fantasy point upside. Ryan Nelson has been amazing since re-entering the starting rotation. Will Warren, I've said it repeatedly, has 2 bad starts this year against the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And if he removes those starts, he has a mid-3 ERA, and he has a lot of strikeout upside. Jose Quintana obviously has the matchup, not a lot of strikeout. And you want to talk strikeout, Zebby Matthews has more of it in his arm than anyone else in this tier. And probably anyone that you can talk about, before you, all the way up to Logan Webb. What do we like here in this 7K tier? Because I feel like there's no shortage of options.
I agree. This is the tier that I want to live in. I'll get up to Yamamoto plenty, but I'm not trying to get over the field on Crochet. Eovaldi, I'll play about even with the field. Logan Webb, I don't. We kind of skipped over him. I don't have any interest against San Diego in his recent form. So I'm going overweight on this tier. I don't know what got into Ryan Nelson this season, but I like the matchup for him. He's been incredible. I don't think there's a ton of upside, so I do prefer Will Warren. I always chase strikeouts. I think Will Warren has a good matchup here. Minnesota's actually been decent since the trade deadline, which is surprising. But I think Will Warren has the stuff to miss any bats. So I like his upside in this spot. Some great points by you there, who I know as a Yankees fan watch him very often. Talented arm, probably a better pitcher than 7,500. And I don't know that Minnesota can keep this up after trading away a couple of offensive pieces. Quintana is fine. The matchup is definitely doing the heavy lifting here. I don't think he has the upside of Will Warren, even as Ryan Nelson. And we have Zebby Matthews below him, who I will be chasing some strikeout upside there for certain. The Yankees, like the Dodgers, like my Cubs, have kind of fallen off offensively. Like those were the 3 best offenses pretty definitively in the first half. And all 3 of them have been really struggling here. So the Yankees on paper look pretty scary, but there's plenty of strikeouts in that lineup. I like Zebby here. The biggest concern for him is pitch count. They will keep him under 80 pitches quite often, but he has like a 30% strikeout rate, which is not something that you find often in this tier.
Yeah, I basically agree with everything in that. It is worth noting Byron Buxton is back tonight from Minnesota. That is scary. And Luke Keyshaw exists in the world. That's also scary because Luke Keyshaw is gonna win an MVP this year. I'm ready. I'm ready to anoint him the best in the league already. I really like the spot for Nelson. Texas has been quite terrible all year offensively. They fired their offensive coordinator, is what they call it over there. Their hitting coach. They fired him. Brett Boone has done nothing to change. They got Corey Seager back, and things still haven't really picked up. I mean, Corey Seager's been fine, but it's been just inconsistencies after inconsistencies. Ryan Nelson, over his last 10 starts, dates back to June 13th, 208 ERA, 201 opponent average, 23% strikeout rate. You give me that against Texas, like they're a bottom 5 offense in basically every here since the All-Star break, 27th in OPS WOBA and WRC plus against right-handed pitching. I mean, it's a pretty sizable sample, almost a month now against right-handed pitching, almost 800 at bats, and they're bottom 4 in every category. Like it's just not getting it done. So I would just add a little more on top of the Nelson point because I think like if you wanted to, there's a case, and it all depends on your roster construction. There's Sacramento tonight. That game is expensive, so if you wanted to get exposure there, I don't know how much of the top tier of pitching you can get to. I think that there is a case to be made to using 2 of them between Nelson, Warren, Matthews, right? I think you could get away with 2 of them. I don't think the Warren Matthews tier approach is the best because you can't qualify for a win, but it's super contrarian if both just go out and shut the doors on each other.
Yeah, I think it is contrarian because there isn't really a top tier offense to spend up for today. Like the offenses we like are pretty fairly priced. So
yes.
I think the field is going to have the money to get up to a Crochet or a Yamamoto. So I think going 2 cheap guys would definitely be contrarian. And I don't disagree that you could possibly get sneaky that way because there is upside with those 3 guys in particular.
Is there anything under even worth mentioning? I mean, Jeffrey Springs has pitched well and Tampa does struggle with lefties, but it is a terrible environment to pitch in. Like just straightforward. It's just one of those, like, I don't care how well he has pitched in that spot. It is just, we are one bad outing away from 10 earned runs in the first inning and he's cooked.
Because I like the tier above him so much today, I don't need to go there often. On a different slate, I'd be more than willing to take this risk because Jeffrey Springs has figured some things out.
Yes, he has.
4 of his last 5 starts, he's been over 20 DraftKings points. One of those came against Seattle at home. The other came against Toronto at home. Those 2 offenses are cooking right now.
Yes.
Jeffrey Springs has been really good for a month. It's a slate where I think there's a lot of good value right above him. So I don't think you need to go there, but I don't think you're crazy if you do want to.
Yeah, and he could probably, like, if you we'll talk Rays offense, but you could probably talk yourself into like, okay, it's definitely live for Caminero to go yard or,
for sure. Yeah.
And he could still also throw like 6 innings of 1-run baseball at the same time. Is there anything else? I mean, I saw earlier Miles Michaelis getting some ownership. He still is. Yu Darvish is getting some ownership. Chris Paddock. I'd rather stack against all 3 of those pitchers. What say you?
I would as well. Darvish is the most interesting of the name. Still not a full pitch count from him, though.
Yeah, the pitch count stinks.
Yeah, he's in a great ballpark against an offense that's mediocre. So I don't think it's crazy. But again, with all the 7K guys, I don't think we need to go here.
Yeah, I actually I love seeing the Paddock ownership. It's dropped a little bit, but I actually have. We'll talk some White Sox bats here.
I was going to say the White Sox have been good.
They have been good. I know.
One of the best offenses in baseball since the break. Like the numbers are what they are.
They are what they are, Keith. We can only follow what the numbers tell us, right?
That's right.
Let's go to catcher. One of the expensive teams are the Athletics. Shea Langoliers here, 55, or Bangaliers as they call him, which is a fantastic nickname. Fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. It's 5,500, worth it. William Contreras, 4,700. Ben Rice, 45. Jeffers, 4,000. Is it basically in this range, Langoliers, Contreras, and then if you're not playing them, spend down, or how do you view this tier?
Yeah, that is how I view it. Contreras is going to be pretty popular. I think the Brewers are going to be popular in general. They do have another catching option, I believe, assuming that he's in the lineup and they play both guys. They've done that. So I like going under on Contreras to get a cheaper Danny Jansen. But Contreras is in a great spot. He struggled mightily against lefties to start the season. He's been much better of late, though, and in his career, he's been awesome against lefties. So I can't complain about Contreras other than the ownership number. Langoliers just hits a ton of home runs. That's what I like to chase in tournaments. So Pepio gives up a lot of hard contact. So definitely a good spot for Langoliers. Yeah, I don't really see a ton to like. I don't mind Ben Rice with his power anytime you want to go there. Middle of the order as well for him. But yeah, I think going down from here is the way to go.
We'll just hit on this couple comments here, Keith. First one from Ryan. Basically, you mentioned it. Risky matchup for Crochet. Yeah, I mean, Astros have a bunch of righties, all righties. They have the fewest amount of lefty home runs in baseball.
That's crazy, but they don't have any lefties in the order. That's why
none.
Like a lot of days they'll have one, if one lefty in the lineup.
And Caratini switch hitting. They might just play. You might just have 9 righties.
Yeah. Yep. And I mentioned Crochet's strikeout rates. So he strikes out more righties. He does get hit harder by righties. So there's more risk, but there's also more upside.
Yeah, I think neither of us have any issue if you get to Crochet.
Yeah.
The spot is obviously Houston just looks better with Pena back and Correa hitting the way Correa has against righties. And so that's that. And he's very expensive. You need the ceiling. You need 30 fantasy points because, he's 11.5. And then Anthony said, Granny, did you discuss Logan Webb, best pitcher with the best matchup? I mean, I don't agree. I think Logan Webb has definitely found it again, at least in terms of strikeouts. He's had a massive ceiling the last 2 games. This isn't not the Pittsburgh Pirates, though. Like the Padres do not strike out. They don't. They have, once again, like year in, year out, they just don't have a high strikeout rate. So I don't, and they've also been good since the break against righties. They added 2 specific guys that hit righties well in Ramon Laureano, who's mashed righties, and Ryan O'Hearn, who bashes righties. So I think Logan Webb is a great pitcher. I would not go as far as to saying he has the best matchup.
Yeah, I think he has the worst matchup, and it's pretty clear to me.
Yeah, of the top, of that, like
of
top,
the top
tier,
4
for sure.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
Totally agree. Let's go below 4K here at catcher. What catches your eye, Keith, other than Danny Jansen?
Yeah, he's definitely a name I want to talk about.
Okay.
Kyle Teal is somebody that I've played a ton of. Power hasn't really shown up, but Paddock is a guy that gives up power. So definitely think that you can go there. It's really Jansen for me is the standout, just because of, I think a lot of people are going to have the money to get to Contreras, and Jansen's going to go low owned. And Jansen has had his struggles this year. Don't get me wrong, but he's also had a history of mashing left-handed pitching. So I'm more than willing to go there. He's lower in the order, but he's a lot cheaper. It allows me to spend up at another position. But Teal is the other standout here.
Dude, Teal's been so unlucky this year. You look at some of the expected numbers. He has a 111 ISO against righties. He has a 235 expected ISO. You're telling me, dude, 235, that's like a legit power hitter. Yeah. I mean, you are a legit power hitter if you end up matching a 235 expected ISO. He's a 330 WOBA, which is pretty good. 400 expected WOBA against righties. Like elite stuff expected out of Kyle Teal. There was a reason why he was him and Mydroth were the key pieces in the Garrett Crochet deal, right? So I'm completely with you on the Kyle Teal front. I think he looks good, and Chris Paddock has had his issues against both splits. I think Dylan Dingler looks really good. We're going to get the Peguero open and then the Tyler Alexander bulk innings. Dylan Dingler, 200 plus ISO against left-handed pitching this year. So I like Dingler, Teal, and I like your Danny Jansen call quite a bit. That's probably it. You can, I guess, hat tip to Pedro Pajes, who has been better of late, and Chase Dollander, came into the league as, another prospect that the Rockies have that just can't figure it out. And can they just draft someone who throws hard? Like, dude,
Dollander throws hard.
Yeah, that's true. I just had a brain fart. I was thinking Palmquist, who throws 90 miles an hour.
90,
he just hasn't been good. Even his last 3 starts at the minor league level, he just didn't look good. He's fully stretch. So, whatever that means. And then you get a bad Rockies bullpen. I wouldn't mind punting Pajes. He's been good lately.
Yeah, Dollinger just isn't quite ready. Like, he was rushed to
Yeah.
the bigs. He was drafted less than 2 years ago, right?
Less than 2 years ago.
Exactly 2 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
Just not quite ready yet. He's got some command things to figure out for sure.
Let's go to first, where Shohei Ohtani, Nick Kurtz exist. Both them don't need to spend much time on them. They're good at baseball. If you want to play them, they're good at baseball. Next tier, Devers has actually been pretty good. Yandy Diaz has just absolutely never stopped smashing. Spencer Torkelson hits lefties extremely well after we get past the Peguero at bat. Wilson Contreras is here. Burleson's here hitting third. What do we like about the mid tier first?
Like everything, the top 5 are awesome. Ohtani,
Yes.
Kurtz, Devers, Yandy, and Torkelson. I cannot say a bad thing about any of those 5.
Yep.
Below that, Freeman is fine. I struggled to get
fine.
to him, but I don't have anything against him necessarily.
I do. I do.
What do you got against Freddie?
Did you watch the World Series last year? I have a lot. I have so much against him.
Fair.
No, he's such a good guy. I can't. I want to hate him. I can't.
Yeah. In the mid tier, Pasquantino's a guy I like to play with his power. Cavalli, it has upside, but he could just walk a ton of guys and be out of the game in 2 or 3 innings.
Yep.
Ryan O'Hearn, a guy that we touched on. Webb will give up some power to lefties, more than he'll give up to righties anyway. So I don't mind him as a one-off. He's cheap enough. Burleson is kind of the standout in the tier for me. I like the Cardinals a good amount. We just talked about Downer not quite being ready. Burleson's been awesome this season, so he'd be my standout here in the mid tier.
I'm going to do this because we did this last time and he went on a power surge. Where's the power, Alec? Huh? I'm just doing this.
Been a while, yeah.
All month. I'm doing this also for my one of my seasonal fantasy teams that I roster him. So it's double edge. I would like him to hit home run. Sub 4K. I think there's a couple good ones. Probably have to start talking Andrew Vaughn of the tier here. What say you?
George Herman Vaughn, you mean? I mean, the guy
it's so true.
It's insane since becoming a Milwaukee Brewer. Flip the switch with the change of scenery. Good for Milwaukee. As a Cubs fan, I just love to see that. But he's been awesome since he's been with Milwaukee. He is way too cheap for what he's done. So he's very clearly the top bat. He's going to get the most ownership. But unlike Contreras, you kind of just have to eat this one as good as he's been.
Yep.
Kobe Clemens is a guy that I don't mind as a pivot if you're looking. Warren will struggle with some lefty power at times.
Yes.
So don't mind that. Bernabel is interesting against Michaelis, who doesn't generally miss bats. Another cheap option here.
I just hit responsible gaming. I didn't mean to do that. All right, we're back. I didn't mean to. We're not responsible. I'm just kidding. Absolutely gamble responsibly. I was going to talk about Lennon Sosa at second, but we could talk about him here. He's kind of been a dog, especially in the power department. Lennon Sosa has been a dog against right-handed pitching this year. 194 ISO, 200 expected ISO. The Chris Paddock splits look better for lefties, but 182 expected ISO for righties as well. I think this is I'm talking myself into far too much White Sox today, but I just kind of like the White Sox, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy. I would have mentioned him as well, other than he's second base eligible, generally a weaker position. So the fact that he has that second base eligible gives me just that much more interest in him. But yeah, I don't think Paddock is anything to be worried about. The White Sox have been awesome. So we're good, and they're really cheap. So if you want to get up to a Crochet or a Yamamoto, or if you want to play a full White Sox stack, you can go 2 of those guys.
Right. Anything else here? You just ready to move on?
That's all I have, I believe.
Okay. Second, don't like this position at all in any way. I think it's terrible. The value, I think, is fine. Only person I would mention to you above 4K is Gleyber Torres. That's the only name that I would bring up.
Yep, same name that was going to come out of my mouth in the top tier.
Okay, because he hits lefties. He's been raking, pretty set in stone. Sub 4K, I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of actually really good options. Ha-Seong Kim has not played well. He has a good ballpark to hit in coming off a game where he homers yesterday. Good eligibility, 3,700. Luke Keyshaw, can't say enough good things about Luke Keyshaw. And he hasn't even ran since he got called back up, right? And that's the best part of his game. Well, not the best, but that is like when he got called up, he had 5 stolen bases in his first 7 games. He's 3,500 hitting in the middle of the order. We mentioned Lennon Sosa. Paul DeJong hits lefties really well, 2,900. What do you want to talk about here at the value tier? Because I think there's a lot to like.
Yeah, Keyshaw was definitely a name. I definitely would prefer a lefty against Warren, but yes. Keyshaw's been awesome. He's flashed more power than expected.
Yes.
And he has that running ability as well that we haven't even really seen. So I love your points there on Keyshaw. Kim is fine because of the ballpark. Sosa is definitely a guy that I'll have a ton of. DeJong, you mentioned, is fine.
Dude, he's been good. I'm just saying he's been good.
He's going to strike out, that, but he does have power. He goes all out for sure.
Yeah, Ryan, they are taking forever. I still don't think we have a Brewers lineup. Would enjoy them doing that, but they don't want to. So we'll move on to third until we get a Brewers lineup.
One more name at second that we just Romy Gonzalez. Christian Javier's coming back after a major surgery. Romy Gonzalez has been really good.
Yes.
So I don't know what Christian Javier is going to be. I don't think he was good before the surgery. I know he had some good results.
No, it was horrible underlying stuff.
The dude has the highest fly ball rate in baseball. He's not an elite strikeout pitcher. He'll miss some bats, but he's not an elite strikeout pitcher. I just don't think Christian Javier was good before surgery. And coming back from surgery, I think Boston could really get off here today.
Yeah, John in real time on the show last night was like, oh, Christian Javier was in Christian Javier form. And we looked at his rehab start, and it was like
he walked over a batter per inning in his rehab. Per inning. He had 4 walks in 3 innings.
Yes, he had a bunch of walks.
Both of his last 2 rehabs.
Yeah, it's been Christian Javier to a T. It's been to a T Christian Javier. So I agree, and Romy is harder for me to get to because he's been good against lefties. And I think where Romy is priced and some of the other Red Sox are priced doesn't exactly fit for me. In my Story is cheaper. Duran is equally priced. Roman Anthony is cheaper. Wilyer Abreu is cheaper.
That's fair. Romy Gonzalez has been awesome against lefties. You're not wrong. 198 ISO against righties.
I know
it's true. He's been really good just all around.
I just don't want it to be true. Okay, I'm moving to third. Junior Caminero. Does he homer today, Keith? Yes or no?
Yes. Awesome.
Over half a home run. You're taking the over?
Yes.
I think I saw he's the most bet home run today.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. The ballpark. It's a fly ball pitcher.
There's winds. Yeah. There's winds blowing out.
Yeah, it's perfect conditions for him.
Bregman at 5K hits. He's been reverse splits this year. He's been great against righties.
Yep. Like I said, I like the Red Sox a ton, and I don't think they're going to get played all that much.
Is Colson Montgomery the top White Sox play of the day, and why is the answer yes?
Because yes, and he just keeps hitting home runs. We're chasing home runs off of Paddock. He's a guy who's allowed a lot of home runs in his career, and Colson Montgomery has hit a ton since his arrival.
I forget who you said there's a lot of strikeout, and you just said it, and I apologize. You said they're live to homer, and also there's they're going to strike out. And DeJong, yeah. That Colson Montgomery is the Aaron Judge of Paul DeJong's right now.
Yep, fair.
He's going to strike out.
Yep.
But he has so much power. I mean, he has not played a lot of games. He has 31 games played, and he's hit 9 home runs already. Against righties this year, 319 ISO, 346 expected ISO. If I told you, guess this player, 346 expected ISO, 319 ISO, you would guess Judge, Ohtani.
Yeah. Definitely not Colson Montgomery.
Not Colson Montgomery, yeah. Not Colson Montgomery. But here we are. That's the timeline that we live in. I think he is very live for a home run. What about the value tier? I think there's this is another position with some good value names as well.
Yeah, Ibanez has hit lefties in his career. We're expecting a lefty behind Peguero, so that might be a really sneaky play where he might get to at bats off a lefty.
Yep.
Nolan Gorman is kind of the standout in the tier. Dollander just doesn't have it yet. Gorman's been pretty good here recently as well. You could play Ryan McMahon, certainly. Caleb Durbin, I think, is going to be really chalky, especially if he is in the leadoff spot with that lineup.
Yeah, I expect he leads off. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about him. He's been good against lefties. He can run a little bit as well as has a little bit of pop. Heaney's been terrible. So nothing bad to say about him other than the ownership.
He's really short.
Yeah, that doesn't matter if he.
I'm just kidding. Shout out to the short kings out. Shout out to the short kings out there. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Just jokes. Haha. Hee hee. You know. The Youngs here. Brooks Baldwin keeps homering. That's because the White Sox keep homering too, right? Like they just homer. Do I want to play Brooks Baldwin? John didn't even know who he was last night. I was like, "Yo, have you seen what Brooks Baldwin was doing this year or lately?" He's like, "I don't even know who Brooks Baldwin is." So no, I can't say I've watched many White Sox games.
The White Sox are like third in ISO since the All-Star break. It's insane.
Insane. They're just homering. They are just homering. That is what they do. And when Luis Robert gets on, he steals, right? It's like what they're doing. So yeah, let's go to short. This is, I think short today was the trickiest position for me, at least at the top. Because as much as we like these players, I don't know where to go. I think the first name for me was Trevor Story. But what about you? Like, you can play any of them. I mean, you mentioned Pasquantino, so I assume you'll have more interest in Witt than I. Because I think we got the Royals lineup. I think he's playing, right? Yeah, he's in.
Yeah, he is. He's hitting second. He's still really expensive, and I still respect Cavalli's strikeout stuff.
Right. Right.
If he walks Witt might, if he walks him twice, he might have 4 stolen bases. So there's plenty of upside. I don't feel the need to get up to him today, though. Like you said, it's just I don't love the matchup for any of these guys. Abrams is lefty. Not that I'm scared to falter. So and Abrams is fine in same-handed matchups as well.
Yep.
So I don't mind Abrams. Neto gets Yamamoto, not doing that. Betts has been better recently. Soriano gets a ton of ground balls to right-handed batters.
I know, dude.
I'm not playing Betts.
Isn't Soriano's one of the toughest people to target against, although he has like massive blowups because it's 70% ground balls. Like it's just not fun.
Oh yeah, I've full stacked against him before, and he went 6 shutout. Like it just happens. Even if he walks 3 or 4 guys in 6 innings, he gets the ground ball and gets out of it.
Yep,
very Framber Valdez-esque in that regard.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's just not a fun. I honestly, this is a position I've mostly played Story or Montgomery if I'm in this range where I've just used Montgomery as a shortstop. And then the value tier, I think there's some decent value. Ha-Seong Kim, Mason Wynn, Hernandez has been pretty good in a really good spot. Pepiot struggled more with the right-handed variety, especially in the power department. Ezekiel Tovar continues to just be a double machine. Anything else and like in this range?
Yeah, those are the same names I would mention. I like the Tovar shout out, especially against Michaelis. Javi Baez is certainly playable. He's down in the 9 hole, but I think it's a good spot for the Tigers.
Shocking to see Javi Baez hit 260. It's almost incredible to see.
Falling off a little bit.
It's almost like that. You know what? I'm not going to go there. I know there's a place in your heart for Javi Baez, so I won't. I won't do it to you. Let's go to the outfield. As Mark says, 4 White Sox in my lineup. What could go wrong? Absolutely nothing, Mark. Never. Nothing. Now, if this was the 2024 White Sox, I would tell you you are drunk and you need to take a nap. But today, in 2025, the White Sox are thumping. Speaking of thump, the top of the outfield position, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Corbin Carroll. It's over 6K. Brent Rooker, Byron Buxton, Cody Bellinger, Riley Green, Fernando Tatis, James Wood, Christian Yelich round out the 5K tier. If there was just a couple names you had to pick out of that 5K and up tier, who would they be?
It would start with Ohtani just because it usually does.
Yes,
and
yes.
then
Yep. Yep.
Brent Rooker looks incredible today. Pepio allows power to
Agreed.
both sides of the plate. Let's see. Those are definitely the two that stand out the most for me. I'd go under 5K after that.
Exactly how I feel. Exact two names. Obviously, like it's tricky with someone like Riley Green
He's going to
because
get the lefty after.
yeah, and he's been
Yeah.
horrible against lefties. But if he's like the one guy I don't worry about really being pinch hit for, like Glaber, him, and now that Carpenter's in the lineup, like it's good to see those guys, like if they make it past Alexander or just absolutely wax Alexander and then they go back to the righty, like, well, we probably wanted some Riley Green and we probably wanted some Carpenter, but it is tough to.
It's not like Alexander's some dominant lefty either.
No,
So yeah,
no,
I
but
mean,
he's
totally
been good against lefties this year though.
He has. Yep.
But I agree on your two. That those are literally the two that I would play. Sub 5K. Jaron Duran, 4,800. Right fielder, Giancarlo Stanton is $4,800. Tyler Soderstrom, 45. Kerry Bonds, 45. Anything else? Like, what do we like? Because I actually think this lower 4K tier is you can rattle off like 8 guys straight and be like, yep.
Yeah, that was kind of my point where the offense isn't that expensive today because the top guys, it seems like, are all in tougher spots.
Yes.
And there's loaded like hitters in great spots, like $1,000 cheaper than them. So I think salary is actually really loose today, which is going to make it easier to get up to those top arms. But Duran is the guy in the high 4Ks that definitely stands out to me. Carpenter, a lot of the same points you just made about Riley Green can be said about Kerry Carpenter.
Yep.
Soderstrom in that ballpark against a fly ball pitcher, certainly nothing bad to say there.
Yeah, and then I think right below it, this is where we just start rattling off a bunch of names. Roman Anthony, 4,300, looks great. He'll lead off. Luis Robert, 4,200, hitting fourth against Chris Paddock. Easier split to run on too, if and when Luis Robert's on base. Ivan Herrera, I know he hasn't been great against righties. He's been specifically great against lefties. He's hitting second against a guy who struggles mightily. Wenzel Perez has a 300 ISO against left-handed pitching this year. He's hitting third. You have Grisham, who has been awesome against right-handed pitching. We have Ryan O'Hearn, who we talked about. Wilyer Abreu, who has been great against right-handed pitching. We talked Burleson. He's been amazing. It's a good, like, lower 4K tier. When we drop below 4K tier, we are kind of joking about it before the show. We go right here, right? Like, this is the first name our eyes gravitate to. I know, like, let's look at the ownership here on Isaac Collins. It's going to be, he's the third highest rostered outfielder of the day. The only reason he's not second is because Alec Burleson has multi-position eligibility. Not a lot of bad things to say about Isaac Collins right now, right?
Absolutely not. He's been unbelievable. He plays for the best team in baseball. It's an awesome spot against a bad lefty. Like, he's going to hit at the top of the order somewhere, probably in the second hole. He's been awesome. There's nothing bad to say.
I know that really pains you. I'm sorry. I felt it.
It does, because it's just not even a prospect on the radar coming into the season. Like, come on, where'd this guy come from?
I really felt it was it felt.
He's another short king, isn't he? He's like 5'8" also.
Yeah, they are full of them. They are full of them out there, dude. They have
Terang as well. They're all
dude.
On that squad.
William Contreras is not a big dude, right? He's just buff. Like, he's huge.
When you look at very
Contreras.
thick.
Yeah. Oh boy, Isaac Collins has been an absolute dog. It's crazy. I'm just like keep updating to see if we get the lineup. I don't think we have, unless that recent. Let's see this recent underdog noti. Is it Brewers? It is right on cue. Isaac Collins hitting second. They are not leading off Caleb Durbin.
Ooh.
They're also not playing Blake Perkins, which is kind of shocking considering how good Blake Perkins has been against lefties this year. That's kind of weird. Well, I guess when you need a lefty like Sal Frelick, you do it, right? Okay. Because I was going to go right to Perkins, just be like Collins Perkins dynamic duo, right?
Yeah, that is very odd. I'm looking at Heaney's splits now because there's got to be something there that the Brewers are seeing.
He's been bad against. He's been terrible against lefties.
Yeah,
Or
12%,
horrible.
12% barrel rate to lefties. I don't mind that. I would
200,
have preferred the
200
righties.
ISO.
But, yeah.
200 ISO to lefties. It's been all bad.
Yep.
Wait, is it 200? Yeah, 288 ISO to lefties for Andrew Heaney.
Yes. Yeesh. 383 will, but yeah, he's been getting smoked by lefties.
That's way worse than 200. I guess that's something they also wanted to, when you can play Brandon Lockridge, you got to do it.
Yeah.
That's what the Brewers decided to do today. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen. They have pancakes. They're playing with magical pancakes in their pockets, and
they don't lose ever, so it's hard to question them.
Yeah, I'm not questioning. I take it all back. So back to Lars Nootbaar is the other guy getting all the ownership in the outfield. Nootbaar has obviously after a really good start, has had a incredibly disappointing season, but he's leading off 3,800, gets Chase Dollander. Let me ask you like this. Is this chalk that you are more than willing to fade? And I'm going to ask it in a single entry fashion, because I know that it's easy for you. You're a large field player. You can get under the field if you wanted to. If you're playing single entry today, or if you're playing one or two lineups, are you okay fading the chalk with Nootbaar?
Yes, I'm almost always okay hitting chalk. There's so many options in the outfield. Like, you can find a guy to outscore him unless he homers and steals a base or something. Like, you're going to be able to match his production somewhere.
Right. He's the highest roster. He hasn't been good. I know the spot is great, but he just hasn't been good. What other cheap outfield plays do you want to talk about, Keith?
Let's see here. I like Larnach. I will have a ton of Warren. I like the Warren side of this matchup better, but Twins lefties I don't mind.
Yes, agreed.
Moniak has been pretty good. I like the matchup for him against Michaelis a ton.
Yep.
He's definitely one of my favorites.
Cubs great. Mike Tauchman.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that call. We like the White Sox a ton against Paddock. Let's see here. Morel, depending on where he's at in the order.
Sorry.
It's been a rough season. It's been a rough season.
I got a little queasy. I got a little queasy there. Sorry, I got a little queasy.
It's a guy with power in a home run park. That's it. That's the only thing I can say about it.
I agree. He has just been it's been the flattest season ever for Christopher Morel. Just nothing. I feel like he's just done nothing. Mr. Biceps. We like the White Sox, so.
Yep.
Mark just asked, are we punting Brenton Doyle coming off back-to-back homer games? He's definitely been better of late.
Yeah, it's Michaelis. It's an 8-hitter though. Whose numbers overall on the season look pretty putrid. He's not my favorite in the tier, but he's playable.
Yeah, for $100 more, Benintendi is probably the better option.
Yeah.
Is there anything cheaper that you would play?
A couple guys we've already talked about that have multi-position in Baez, and who's the other one I just saw? Brooks Baldwin. Fine. Yeah. Victor Scott is fine. He's a speed guy. Nothing exciting there, but he's playable, especially if you're using a couple Cardinals.
I have to do this for John. Shout out to John. Would you play Jock Peterson hitting fourth at $2,100? You are allowed to just move on, and we'll build a core here.
This is where I say absolutely not, and then he hits 2 homers, right?
Yes, that's usually how it goes.
He's been awful. He still has power, theoretically. He just homered yesterday, I believe, or whenever they played. His last game he homered.
He did.
It's been an awful season for him, but there is power there.
I'm not sure there is, but then he homered up, because he homered off Devin Williams, and that doesn't mean anything these days. Okay, let's get a core play built. I think Yamamoto was the top dog of the day, is where we're going to start. Who is your favorite of this tier between Nelson, Warren, and Zebby?
I think Will Warren is going to be my favorite of the tier. I'd rank him Warren, Zebby, Nelson, I think, and I know you're higher on Nelson than I am.
Yeah,
So
I would probably rank him. I'd probably rank him like that. I think Warren has the best win equity of the group as well. Not that the Yankees are winning many games, but like in theory, win equity, he has the most.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, let's get to the bats. Now, I would typically in this part of the program, I would be like, let's just play Luke Keyshaw. I don't know if we're going to do that with Will Warren as our pitcher. I'm okay with it, but I don't know if we want to. So, who are some of the plays that we definitively want in our line?
So, like, Brewers are, I think, the obvious chalk today. Andrew Vaughn is probably my favorite of the Brewers, just as good as that guy has been.
Vaughn Collins as like our starting point with the Brewers.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Do we want to play? Are we okay using Colson Montgomery as a core? Is that? I mean,
yeah, I'm good with that. Lennon Sosa, I think, is another White Sox if you want some correlation there. Also,
okay.
Has the second base eligibility, cheap enough, has showed good power, as you mentioned.
Let's get one more play, and we'll leave the people with that, and then we'll finish the lineup and we'll put it in the Discord, which you guys can find in the description of the show right now. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We do this Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, and we do the pre-show Monday through Friday as well. What do you want to do for, like, if you could play anybody on this slate at at one of these positions, catcher, third, outfield, who would it be? And obviously we can correlate or we can play a one-off. I don't really care.
Let's see here. I like Red Sox a ton, and we don't have any exposure to them yet. Jarren Duran is really cheap.
Okay.
I also like Rays, even though Springs has been much better. Caminero fits this build nicely. I think we have enough money to get up there.
Easy.
Like, then we can go down a catcher instead of William Contreras, which we were probably trending towards.
Yep.
But there's another option there.
Yeah, we'll leave it with Caminero, and we'll put the rest. We'll finish the lineup in Discord. We'll leave a catcher, 2 outfield spots, 4,100. That's easy. Easy money. We just got to Caminero, and we got to Yamamoto as well. So that's just no problem whatsoever. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, big shout out to Keith coming in clutch today, and we will be back tomorrow with another stream. We'll be back tonight with the pre-show, tomorrow with the stream. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.